Hello everyone, welcome back to Genius Knowledge Point, your one place for practical programming solutions for computer and IT students. I am making this video to provide practical knowledge to all students so that you can develop your own programs which will be helpful for your studies as well as career. In this video we will see practical number 3 of Python programming, which is according to Diploma Computer and IT students who are studying in K scheme, and semester number is 4. And the topic in this video is using operators like arithmetic operators, logical operators, bitwise operators. So from C programming to Java programming, we have seen these types of operators, that is arithmetic operators we have seen, logical operators we have seen, then bitwise operators also we have seen. So the same concept is applied here, same operators will be used here, just there will be little bit difference between the operator symbols. So otherwise the definition of the operation of that operator will be same. So that we will see in this practical. So directly moving toward the first question, write a program to find a square root of a number. So here we will be using a square root or the power operator so that we can find the square root of a number. So moving toward the code now. So this is the code. I have developed this code inside Notepad++. And we will copy this code into our PyCharm afterwards. So for understanding purpose, I will be explaining this code inside Notepad++. So first, we have to accept a number from the user. So for that purpose, we have to take a variable, that is num I am taking, is equal to, we have to use multiple functions here. So int will be converting the entire parameter bracket into integer value. Then we have second function as input. So whenever you want to take input from the user, you have to use this function, that is input, and in that input you have to specify a string that will be printed as a message in front of the user. So this is the message that will be printed in front of user, enter a number to find its square root. So this is the message that will be printed in front of user, and it will be taken as input. So whatever the value user enters after this message, that will be taken as input. So this is the output of this function, and that function output will be converted into integer value because we want to take integer as a accepted value. So that's why I am converting it into integer value, and that value will be stored into num. So in Python programming, we don't have to specify the variable data type while creating that variable. We have to just mention the variable name. Automatically the data from the right hand side, that will be taken as the data of that variable. So this is how the number will be taken as integer. So number is integer variable now. Next I am checking if num is greater than or equal to 0, because whenever we are calculating square root of a number, that number should be greater than or equal to 0. Then only it is possible in mathematics to calculate square root. So that's why I am taking this condition. And whenever you are taking condition in Python, or whenever you are loop or similar statements, you have to specify colon. Then after that, whenever you want to go inside that condition, you have to specify tab. So horizontal tab specifies as a curly brackets that we have seen in Java programming or C programming. So similarly, these two statements are inside this if condition now. So just I am calculating the square root using this square root variable. The square root is equal to num double star 0.5. So why I am using double star? Double star is used for exponential operator. So it will be considered as exponent, and after that I am putting 0.5. So why I am putting 0.5? We have to calculate the square root of a number, and in mathematics the power of square root is 1 by 2. That is half power, means it is square root of the number. So that's why I am putting 0.5, which is equal to half. So this is how it will calculate the square root of this number, and the number square root will be stored into this square root variable. So this is how our square root is calculated here. I am just printing that inside if condition only. So f is the formatting value or formatting parameter, then the square root of num. So whenever you specify the value of a variable, you have to specify it inside the curly brackets. Is, again I am specifying inside curly brackets, square root. So this is how it will print the square root of your entered number is the value. So this is how the square root will be displayed here, and finally closing the string. So this is all the formatting part that we have seen already in Java programming or C programming that we use inside our printing statement. So this is how the printed output will be generated here. Next, after if, we have to put else statement. So whenever the number is entered which is not equal to or greater than 0, it will go to else statement, that is we have printed here cannot calculate the square root of negative number. So if a user enters negative number, it cannot be calculated inside a square root. So that's why we have put if else condition here. So this is how the output will be generated according to our code. So to run this code, I am just selecting the entire code, copying it. Then we have seen how to use PyCharm in previous practical or previous video. So in that we have seen how to install PyCharm, how to create a simple file inside PyCharm. So similarly, I am creating a new file here. So going to new, then Python file, naming it as root. So automatically it will be created as a Python file. Then inside this file, I am just pasting the entire code that we have generated inside our Notepad++ file. So the code is ready here. To run this file, I just have to click on this run button which is available on the top bar. So I am clicking on this button. So after clicking on the run, it has generated the output statement at the bottom. So it is asking me to enter a number to find its square root. So I am just entering a number here now. So 25 I am entering. So after pressing enter, it has calculated the square root of 25 is 5.0. So it has calculated the square root in the form of float value. So this is how the square root is generated and the correct answer is generated here. So I am running this program again to check whether it is accepting negative value or not. So again pressing the run button. So it is again asking me to enter the square root. So I am just entering negative 50 now. So the output is generated as cannot calculate the square root of negative number. Why it is printed? Because our if condition is not satisfying here. So that's why it has gone to else condition, and this is how the second statement, the part of else statements, is printed here. So this is how we have completed this first question, which was just calculation of square root, and for that purpose we have used exponent operator. In that we have passed 0.5 because we want to calculate square root here. So the question is complete here. Now the second question is write a program to convert bits to megabytes, gigabytes and terabytes. So we have to accept the number in the form of bits and we have to convert that value into megabytes, then gigabytes and terabytes. How much megabytes will be having those bits, then how much gigabytes will be containing those bits, and how much terabytes will be having those bits value, that we have to calculate here. So directly moving toward the code. So initially we have to accept the bits value from the user. So for that purpose we will be using input function, and in that I am writing a message, enter the number of bits. So that will be printed in front of the user, and that input will be converted into integer value using this int function. Automatically bits will be having integer value. So this is how the bits are accepted here. Then the bit should be converted into bytes value. So that's why we are going to convert at bits value into bytes. So for that purpose bytes val, this is the variable I am taking, is equal to bits divided by 8. So we all know that 8 bits are equal to 1 byte. So that's why I am converting this into bytes value, because we have to calculate the values in megabytes, gigabytes and terabytes. So these are all in the form of bytes. So that's why we have to convert those bits value into bytes. Next we have to use the megabytes function, or we have to use the function to calculate megabytes. So megabytes variable is equal to bytes value divided by 1024 into 1024, and that is converted inside a round bracket. So why it is converted? Because 1024 bytes is equal to 1 kilobyte and 1024 kilobyte is equal to 1 megabyte. So that's why the kilobyte is not converted here. So directly we are converted into megabytes. So that's why we have to divide this bytes value into 1024 into 1024. So this is how the megabytes will be calculated. Then 1024 megabytes is equal to 1 gigabyte. So that's why whenever we are converting this into gigabyte value, what we have to do, we have to consider this bytes value and we have to divide that value into 1024 into 1024 into 1024. So this is how the bytes value will be converted into gigabytes. Similarly, the terabytes value will be equal to bytes value divided by 1024 into 1024 into 1024 into 1024. So this is how the entire bytes value will be converted to terabytes. So this is how the calculation will be done here, and we have just used the normal arithmetic operators here. Next we have to print the output. So for that purpose I am using print statement. So print, and in that I am putting message as equivalent in megabytes is equal to, and putting megabytes value after comma. So what it will do, it will just print the message in front of the user, and after that it will just put the megabytes value. So this is how the concatenation will be done here of string and the value of megabytes. Similarly the equivalent in gigabytes will be printed, and similarly equivalent in terabytes will be printed here. So this is how the output will be generated using print statement. So I am just selecting entire code, copying the code, going to PyCharm, and I have already pasted the code here. So the same code is here. So I am just running the code. So it is asking me to enter the number of bits. So for that purpose I have to put some value. So I am putting 5 lakh as a bits value. So after entering, the output is generated, equivalent in megabytes is generated as 0.05960. So this much megabytes are contained inside this 5 lakh bits. So equivalent in gigabytes is converted as 5.8207 and 10 raised to minus 5. So this much gigabytes are available whenever we put this much bits. Similarly terabytes is converted as 5.6843 and it is to the 10 to the power minus 8. So this much terabytes are generated here. So this is how our output is generated, which is in the form of float values, and it is having the power of 10 raised to minus 5, and for terabytes it is having power of 10 raised to minus 8. This is how the output is generated here, and this second question is completed here. Now the third question is write a program to swap the value of two variables. So we have to take two numbers or two variables as input, and those variables we have to swap using some method. So for that purpose we will be taking two integers only, and we already have the concept of swapping, that is we have to use a ternary or third operator, and using that third operator what you can see, we can just swap them. So directly moving toward the code. So initially I have to take the two numbers as an input. So I am taking x is equal to int input, and the message is enter first number. So this is the message that will be printed in front of the user, and after entering the number it will be taken into x, or it is stored into x. Similarly I am accepting y as a input, enter second number. So both the numbers are accepted here. Then I am printing both the numbers. So before swapping, x is equal to x comma y is equal to y. So we have formatted this output, and in the formatting bracket we have put x value using curly brackets and y value using curly brackets. So it will display the actual x and y values here. So this is the output before swapping the variables. Then we are using a temporary third operator, that is temp is equal to x. So the x value will be stored into temp, then x is equal to y. So the value from y will be stored into x, and y is equal to temp. So the value which is stored into temp, which is of x value, that will be stored into y. So this is how the swapping will be done here. And finally I am printing the output, that is after swapping, again I am using formatting here. So after swapping, x is equal to x value and y is equal to y value. So this is how the swapping will be done here. So copying the entire code, then going to PyCharm. So in PyCharm already pasted the code here. So to run this code I just clicking on this run button. So it is asking me to enter first number. So I am entering 20 here, then asking second number, so entering 30 here. So the output is generated as before swapping x is equal to 20 and y is equal to 30, that is our inserted input. Then after swapping, x is equal to 30 and y is equal to 20. So this is how the values are swapped here. X value gone to, or the x value becomes 30, which is of y value which we have inserted, and y value has become 20 here, which is of x value originally. So this is how this third question is also completed here. Now moving towards the fourth question, write a program to calculate surface volume and area of cylinder. So we have to consider the properties of cylinder, that is cylinder is having a curved surface, and it has two surfaces as a top surface and bottom surface, which is in the form of circle. So this is how we have to calculate the volume initially, then we have to calculate the area. While calculating volume, we have the formula, that is area of circle and into height of the cylinder. This is how the volume will be calculated, and for calculating the total surface area, we have to calculate the curved surface area and we have to add the two circles area into that. So this is how the total surface area will be. So directly moving toward the code. So initially we have to accept the radius of the cylinder. So for that purpose I am taking radius is equal to float, then input, enter the radius of the cylinder. So this is how the message will be printed, and that value will be taken as a string, and that string will be converted into float value using our float function, and that float value will be stored into radius variable. So this is how the radius is taken here. Then similarly height value we have to take. Similarly height will be taken using this function, enter the height of the cylinder, that is the message, and it will be converted into float value and stored into height. Next we have to calculate the volume. For that purpose we will use formula as volume is equal to 3.14. so this is the pi value into radius into height. So we have to calculate the area of one circle, that is pi r square. So this is the pi into radius, so that is pi r square, and we have to multiply that value using height. So pi r square into height. So this is how the volume will be calculated. Next we have to calculate total surface area. So initially we are calculating the surface area of two circles, that is top surface and bottom surface. So 2 into pi into r square, so 2 pi r square. This is how the total circles area is calculated. Plus we are calculating the curved surface area, that is 2 into pi into r into h. So 2 pi r is the circumference of circle and height is the multiplied value. So this is how the curved surface area is calculated, and both the values are added here. So this is how total surface area is calculated here, and finally we are printing the output. So first we are printing volume of the cylinder and attaching volume variable value, then printing total surface area of cylinder, then attaching total surface area variable value. So this is how the output is generated here. So just copying the entire code, then pasting inside the PyCharm. So I have already pasted it here. So to run this code I just have to click on this run button. So first it is asking me to enter radius of the cylinder, so I am entering radius as a 10. Then it is asking me the height of the cylinder, so I am entering 20. So after the values are entered, it has generated volume of cylinder as 6280.0 and total surface area is 1884.0 square units. So this is how the volume is calculated using our formula, and total surface area is also calculated. So this is how the fourth question is completed, and practical number 3 is also completed, which was just using arithmetic operators that we have already seen from C programming till Java programming. The same concept is applied here, the same definition of operators is applied here, just there is a change in little bit operators symbol, and the rest of the functionality is same. So this is how practical is ended here. So that's it for today's practical. I hope you understand the program clearly. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel for more such programming solutions, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. If you have any doubts or need solutions for other programs, drop a comment below. I will be happy to help. Thanks for watching and happy coding.